So I recently did a video on how to propagate Japanese maples, and I got a lot of feedback from it, and then I had several requests. And one of the main requests that I've seen in the comments and people sending me DMs is, how do I select a grafted Japanese maple? So let's take a look at what we need to do in order to select a quality Japanese maple. So the first thing that I'm going to look at is insect and pathogens that may be on the plant. I'm going to inspect the leaves. I'm going to look at the underside of the leaves, make sure I don't see any aphids. I'm going to look in on the branching to make sure that I don't see any scale or any other type of insect on there. I'm going to look down at the base of the trunk to make sure that a phloem feeder hasn't, or a boring insect hasn't gotten up underneath the bark and is feeding here. After I've done that, I'm going to look at the graft itself. So what am I looking for here? I'm looking for a graft that has fused the scion completely to the rootstock. If I see a graft where only part of the scion has fused with the rootstock, I'm probably going to move on to the next Japanese maple. Reason being, even though a graft will partially take and the tree will look viable, over time, sometimes what will happen is that scion will die out because there's not enough transfer of nutrients from the rootstock to the scion, because the rootstock and the scion barely fused together. It was just enough to get the scion started, but not enough to continue some quality growth. So I'm looking for a quality connection or fuse between the rootstock and the scion. From there, what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the roots. So if I can pull the plant out, and I'm going to do this, try not to make a mess. Notice that's fully rooted. I've got roots going all the way down in the bottom of the pot. They're nice and healthy. They're not black and rotted looking, and they're not girdled either. All right, so what is girdling? Girdling is where the roots begin to grow in circles because the plant needs to be in a bigger pot. So this is a quality root ball for this size tree. Once I've established that I'm free of pathogens, there's no insects, there's no bacteria, mold, anything like that growing on it, the graft union is good and the roots are good, I start to look at the symmetry of the tree. Okay, so what am I looking at here? I don't want all my branches on the right hand side. I don't want all my branches on the left hand side. I want equal branching going all the way up the top of the tree. And if I have all those, chances are I have a very good Japanese maple that, as long as it's taken care of, can last for hundreds of years. A Japanese maple will outlive all of us. I've been to some gardens over in England, and they had some Japanese maples that were 500 years old. I mean, they were just gorgeous, gorgeous specimens. So they can live a very long time if number one, we start with the basics of what we're looking for at the garden center, and number two, we give them some TLC once we get them home. Until next time, this is the Plant Doctor.